Yeah.
Okay, with that, Alli is going to walk us through AI agents and how they work, how to build them, how to trigger them, all the fun stuff on AI agents. Let's put yours up. Remove mine. And then yours is, there we go. Okay.
All right. Okay, so we're going to do a whole deep dive, as Dan said, on field agents. I've been using them a lot more recently, especially now that Airtable has added a couple new features to really be able to more finely control when these fields are triggered, etc., which we'll get into a little bit later. But first, I'm just going to start with what are they? Why would you use them? When should you use them, etc.? So a field agent is like a mini AI agent within your database. Within each table, you could have a field set up as an agent. And with one of the more, it used to be that like long text fields, I think that was the only output at first. You could insert a prompt into the field configuration and it would give you back text. And then you could use that and configure it how you wanted later on with like a flow maybe. But then they've since added a bunch more different outputs, which have made them a lot more useful. And they've added more fine controls. So we can talk about a really simple example, which would be like this company size field. And actually one point I was trying to make previously is that one thing you couldn't do is if you had the output set up, an AI enabled field, you couldn't edit that output. It was only the AI could edit it. But now you can kind of work in tandem in the same field with the AI. So I've actually found that to be really nice. Because I don't want to have two different fields set up. I maintain this one and the agent maintains the other. I'd rather have just the one field. And now that's possible. So that's been really useful. So we could talk about just changing this one to be an AI field, which we can say convert with this button right here. Certain field types will not allow this. Only the ones that have the output already that are compatible with an agent will allow that. And those you can find here by going to creating a custom agent, and you can select the type here and see what the output types are that are available to you. So quite a lot now, which is amazing. So let's talk about converting this one first. I guess we'll start I'm like, we should actually just start from the top really quick and just say, let's do a long text one. We'll select long text at the top. And for this example, I have companies and industries. We could kind of go with like a market research vibe for our use case. So I'm going to insert in here a prompt to, let's grab like a recent news article, summarize a recent news article about the company in this, in each record. One thing you can do, which is also cool, is you can use this edit with AI button to like help it write your prompt as well, which is nice. I rarely ever use that, but I think it probably would be useful. Do you guys use that ever, Dan and Camille?
It's disabled for Airtable account I have.
There you go.
I have used it. Yeah. I've also sometimes I'll just have Claude open and have Claude generate my prompt.
Certainly. I'm finding more and more that I want to try that app that I believe it was Rob was talking about, Whisper Flow. Is that the one that everyone, where you can just
I use that, yeah.
I'm like typing so much more now that I'm writing all these prompts. Oh my goodness. That's the pain of everyone right now dealing with AI. But I'm going to tell it to research the company online and find the most recent news article, summarize the article, and include the date and source/publication name. And then what I'm going to do, I need to tell it within this prompt what the company is. So depending on how I'm actually writing my prompt, I might do this in many different ways, but sometimes I name value pairs at the bottom, just say company : this is the company name, website, and you can type an @ symbol or a squiggly bracket to pull up this picker.
Two things. Why is it an @ instead of curly braces like a formula editor or roll-up editor? And why does a URL say new? Is that a new field that you added to the base, or is that like it couldn't collect information from a URL type field before and now it can?
That's a really good question.
Okay.
I didn't even pick up on it until you said it. No, it could always take URL type fields. It has since day one. I don't know.
All right.
I'm not sure. It is a field that I added last, but it was last night. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I do like the pop-up though for selecting a field. I wish the formula editor had that. It looks like it's easier to navigate than the thing that formulas have.
Absolutely. And when we get into deep match too, it's pretty cool. Like, show you both tables that you're looking at when it's a linked record field. That's, I find, really useful. One thing, you can use the squiggly or the @ symbol. And yes, I don't know why randomly now @ is the thing that they're using, but silly. So let's just create this and see what happens. We'll talk about the thing at the bottom in a moment. I'm going to say recent news. Oh, and also I need to enable it to search the web. That's one thing that I do actually have it enabled. That's what this little icon means. But I believe this is a setting that you might not have on by default. So do make sure that you look at this. If you don't have it on, then you wouldn't see that little icon there. But you need to give it that tool to be able to actually go and look at the internet to find news about the article. About the company. One thing I don't love is that when you create it, it will run first 10 records, even though you don't have on automatic generation. But I guess, it's cool to get a sample set, but still, it's like, I didn't ask you to do that.
Yet another limit to number I must memorize now. It'll do the first 10.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So sometimes I look at the output and say, okay, well, I don't need it to start with the most recent news about blah, blah, blah. So I will then keep editing my prompt to be like, okay, and you get better at this over time and you think about what to write the first time. So if I, going to edit this, I might say, okay, here's what your output should look like. You should start with the date, then on the next line, have the publication name, then the summary of the article, then the link to it, etc. So you can guide it along what you want for your output. But to talk a little bit about how I might keep this field up to date. That would have been a little bit more difficult in the past, and it's now a little bit more easy. So let's walk through a couple examples of that. In the past, really the only option you had was to toggle on this automatic generation. And what that means is that anytime any value that you're using in this prompt, any field that you're referencing, anytime a value in that field changes or is updated, this will also re-trigger and rerun. Your prompt will refire again, so the agent will keep regenerating new content. And especially if you have like long text field that you're referencing in this field. If you had a description field, I don't know, about the company, and you were using that in here, as you're typing in that description field, like it's committing your values upon keystroke. So every couple letters you type, this is re-triggering, and it's wasting all your tokens and all your credits. So that was a mess and really easy to do and not realize that you're doing. I, for that reason, very, very rarely ever toggle on automatic generation. Unless it's something that I know is like a one and done, the record's gonna show up, I need it to run, and it just no one's gonna touch it again. I don't know. There are ways to re-trigger it without having this on. So I'm gonna talk about that next. I highly recommend doing it this way, just because I like to have full control over when my credits are being used. So under this additional triggers section, we have a few options. At first, I was like, I feel like there's something missing from this, and I still think there is. I think they should have a do not run if, like, always in here. You can still kind of simulate that as well, which I'm going to kind of do as well. We'll show you how that works too. But there are two options. You can run on a schedule. So I could say, all right, I want this to run every weekday. And that might be a really good use case for this exact field, right? I want every day, find the news of the day about this company, and have it refresh weekdays at 9 a.m. Great. Like, that would be perfect. You can also add a condition to that schedule. Like, okay, only refresh on that weekday if, I don't know, if we had a status field like tracking or not tracking this company, you could turn it off. So you can ignore certain records from that schedule, which I do find useful as well. But that would be probably a really good use case for this, would be to set that up on a schedule. I would save that then. And then you can also say, I want to refresh it on command. Let's hit save, and then I'll actually just show you how to do this. You can run the agent again manually per record. You could hit this refresh button and have it search the web again. You can also right-click on the field header and run the field agent, and it gives you several different options, some of which I feel like they are missing. Like, I don't really find many of these useful. Usually I'm saying, okay, either all in the view or the ones I've never modified. Those two I think are useful. But I had this grouped, for example, like I would like to be able to, like, I don't know, run it for one group at a time or something like that. That would be useful. But I don't know.
I wish, like, you could check the group. There'd be a checkbox on the grouping heading, and then when you check all, then you could do run selected.
That's yes, thank you. The checkbox too. Checkbox does nothing. It should be 3 selected records. I should see that as an option.
I thought it was. I misread that.
Can you rerun the agent from an automation? Is that a thing?
No, but you can. That's what I'm going to simulate right now.
Okay.
So what I would do for this is, let's say I want to do it on a particular industry at a time. Like, I want to say, okay, I want to find all the recent news for the companies in industry X, consumer goods or whatever. First, what I could do is actually have a roll up of that news just to display it on this table. And then I would do separated by 2 new line characters so that it's like Duolingo, Stripe. Oh, I only have 10, so I guess probably not in the same industry. I don't have overlap. Oh, there it is. So that's one piece of news. I could, if I were being really fancy, separate this with, like, dashes in between, so I could actually see which ones are the newest, where the separators truly are. either way there, let's say I want to set up an automation, so to speak, where we don't even need an automation for this, but I am going to use one to make it fancier. I want to be able to click a button in an interface and have it run that agent for all of the linked records for software and IT. I would do something like this. Run, and then I'm going to have this say run news agent. Now, if I set that to run, I'm going to look up that field from the industry link, the field I just set up. I'm going to look it up over here. And so when that becomes run, I can now set up a condition within my field agent to say, if this is run, do it. So I'm going to add that as an additional trigger in my field agent settings. So this is where I would go under this when conditions are met section. And I would say when run news agent has any of run, add, save. Now, the automation part is simply to clear that field out when I set it to run. So I'm going to set up an automation that just says, okay, if run news agent, which if you're not watching my screen is a single select field with one value in it that just says run. And I'm going to set up an automation that's triggered when that single select field is run. I'm going to update a record, that same record, on the industries table to just clear that value out. Clear run agent field. I don't know. I'm just going to poorly named automation, but we can come back to that later. Now, if I clear that here, if I wish I could look at both at the same time, but I could do it in an inside of an interface, but still, I'll do it afterwards. Let's say run, and I'll go back here, and all 5 of those are already researching the web, and then that got cleared out, so it isn't going to like be running because that is set as run. And so that's kind of like the building block for me as ways to kind of set up pieces of an automated way of using agents. You could get fancier from there.